When is this bull gonna attack? He's looking at the bear, waiting for an opening. Move, bitch, get out the way.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Svenson, and today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin. Over the past 24 hours, the price of Bitcoin has absolutely surged, and we reached prices right around the $9,500 price level. In the last video on this channel, we were looking for upwards of $8,250 to $8,500, and we hit that price target, but then things began moving so quickly that I had to go live for several hours at a time, multiple times, to keep you guys updated. Let's play some clips. Really, the next major resistance, if we break 8,500, only if we break 8,500, about 91 to 9,500. So that's probably the next upside target if we break 8,500. I'm curious to see, you guys. We're coming up, new higher prices. Just touched new highs on Coinbase. Look at this, guys. Pumping. Let's go. All right, guys, we're getting a push up, coming up to 9K, coming up to 9,000 now. And there's definitely going to be a lot more live streams to come, so hit that bell button so you know when I go live. Also, hit the like button on this video. Let's get as many likes as we can. The price of Bitcoin did see some strong rejection after hitting prices just below 9,500. During major moves like this, you're going to find profit takers, you're going to find sellers at some point, and we did see some sellers step into the market recently, and currently the price is trading around 8,800. So we're going to be discussing what we could expect for the price of Bitcoin moving forward, moving into the halving. And as we can see, there is actually less than 12 days until the Bitcoin halving takes place. I put out a tweet this morning and I said, you couldn't have asked for anything better. The Bitcoin run to 9,500 was epic, and it was exactly what the bulls needed to do after the global crisis. This shows me that there is a ton of interest and a ton of confidence in Bitcoin. And there are a lot of things that we need to discuss right now. So I'm looking at the CryptoWatch asset card list, and we can see that Bitcoin is still up about 6.3% in the past 24 hours, although we are seeing a bit of a pullback for the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is holding its gains right now, still up 6.3%. I'm looking at the 3-day chart for Bitcoin right now, and I love looking at this chart right now because Bitcoin has made a full recovery. The price of Bitcoin has actually come straight back up to the previous descending triangle support zone and found a little bit of resistance there, but the bulls have made an absolute recovery, and this is exactly what we needed to see going into the halving. So a lot of the viewers out there are probably asking, well, didn't Bitcoin's price go up too fast? Aren't we going to have a huge sell-off now because we went up very quickly? Well, actually, that's not the right way to think about this, because you have to remember, Bitcoin was creating higher lows on the macro trend. We found that 3150 low during the bear market 2018-2019, and we found a higher low here in 2019 at 6430, and Bitcoin was actually remaining bullish until the global pandemic hit, and we saw basically a flash crash to 3858. Bitcoin bouncing back above 6430 happened very quickly. We saw a lot of demand for Bitcoin at these low levels, and we came right back above that 2019 low pretty fast, so the demand below 6430 was extremely high. And then what we obviously saw was a little bit of chop in this bottom range from 2019, and then now we've broken out above that range and we've tested back up to the 2019 descending triangle support area. So what this tells me is that Bitcoin is currently moving back up to a fair evaluation. These are the price levels that, in my opinion, Bitcoin should be at moving into the halving. Before the global pandemic took place, Bitcoin was trading upwards of 10,500. And in my opinion, this just shows that Bitcoin is moving back to a fair evaluation. So now a lot of people are wondering, what should we expect for the price of Bitcoin? A lot of people out there are asking the questions of, should I be buying Bitcoin? Should I be selling Bitcoin? Well, in my opinion, I still think these are great prices to be accumulating Bitcoin for the long term. So looking at the daily chart right now on this channel, if you've been watching my content, for over a month, we've been looking for the bump and run bullish reversal pattern to take place. And we've gotten that to take place. Bitcoin has actually moved up and through that previous downward sloping resistance for the previous downtrend. And we've come all the way up to the previous descending triangle support as new resistance now. In between 9,100 and 9,500 is a historic price range, so it makes sense that we're finding resistance here. And I think it's actually likely that we may be trading sideways within this range before any continued push to the upside. So going back to the 3-day chart, what I find interesting is that we've actually seen this exact type of price action before after Bitcoin found its bear market low, and we had this breakout to upwards of 5,000. We ended up trading sideways and then breaking out again to the upside and continuing the bullish run. But of course, past price action doesn't guarantee any kind of future price action. But if the demand for Bitcoin is high enough right now going into the halving, then it's actually quite likely that we would see a pattern like this where Bitcoin would end up trading sideways before coming back up to the resistance and breaking out going into the halving. Right now, I actually see this as a strong potential. Looking at the volume decline here, we ended up having bullish resolution on this volume decline, and this is what we've been looking for on this channel. And if you mark up this level of volume, you can see that this is way above the average level of volume from most of our trading ranges from 2018 and 2019. So this is huge, guys. We're seeing a ton of demand for Bitcoin at these levels during this breakout, which in my opinion makes sense. I do think these are great levels to be accumulating Bitcoin for the long term, and I think a lot of people are realizing this right now. One thing I've been hearing a lot from people, and one thing we've discussed heavily on this channel, is that if the stock market does see a reversal anytime soon, what does that mean for Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin just going to follow the stock market to the downside? How is Bitcoin going to be affected? On this channel, we've studied the Bitcoin stock market correlation heavily, right? And we've come to a few conclusions. And first off, what we need to remember is that it's not black and white. You can't just say Bitcoin isn't correlated and you can't just say it is correlated, because it's very circumstantial and it's a complex topic. And one of the other conclusions that I've come to is that when the stock market is extremely bullish, Bitcoin generally follows. When the stock market is extremely bearish, Bitcoin generally follows. So Bitcoin follows during extreme environments. Bitcoin is a confidence game. And when the global markets are confident, people are also confident in Bitcoin because it is a speculative asset right now. But one thing we've also observed here on this channel was that on March 16th, Bitcoin actually found a low and began creating higher lows. And for the next few days, as Bitcoin was creating higher lows, the stock market was seeing lower lows. So what that tells us is that if the demand for Bitcoin is high enough, that means that Bitcoin can actually trade against the S&P and against the global markets. One major factor that I'm considering right now is that even if the stock market does see a reversal, we have to remember that Bitcoin is currently entering the halving, and we are seeing a ton of demand for Bitcoin right now as we're moving into the halving. So is it possible that the demand for Bitcoin going into the halving will outweigh any sort of stock market reversal? I think it's possible that even if the stock market were to see a major reversal, Bitcoin could just trade sideways and sustain prices, because we would be seeing enough demand from speculators going into the halving, and then if the stock market finds support at some point, Bitcoin would see a major rally. So what I think is most likely for Bitcoin right now is actually some sideways action going into the halving before a major push above resistance. And we're going to see most likely a lot of demand for Bitcoin going into the halving and a lot of bullish speculative demand going into the halving. So again, I'm very focused on the long term. And even though Bitcoin has seen a major run up, I'm still remaining bullish on Bitcoin going into the halving. You know, we could be ranging anywhere in between 8,000 to 9,100 for the next few days, maybe a week or 2 weeks. Going into the halving. But I do think that things are going to be remaining bullish for Bitcoin overall from a large scale perspective. Right now, a lot of people are wondering, what kind of price levels should we be expecting going into the halving? And what kind of price levels should we be expecting going into the end of the year? Now, of course, it's always tough to determine that. But one thing we can do now in CryptoWatch is if you click the analysis drop down and you scroll down to the stock to flow model and you click on that, if you just take a look at what the stock to flow model suggests, it suggests that we would be at a minimum price of about $15,000 by the end of 2020. So by the beginning of 2021, it's likely that Bitcoin will be at least $15,000. So that's the price level that I'm looking at right now. I'm going to stay conservative and stick with the minimum target of $15,000 by the end of the year. So with that said, keep in mind that, Bitcoin can see high levels of volatility going into the end of the year. So just keep that in mind. But I would be looking for about 15K by the end of the year at minimum. And right now, what we can see on the weekly volume is that there is a ton of demand for Bitcoin right now. There's a lot of accumulation. There's a lot of buy interest. And it would not surprise me if we were to see price targets like that being hit by the end of the year. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Be sure to sign up with the CryptoWatch platform, which is the platform that you see me use in all of my videos. And if you've been getting value out of my content and you want to support the channel, be sure to join the Patreon. You can get extra content there on some of the days that I'm not posting on YouTube. And lastly, guys, follow me on Twitter, join the Discord channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.